That, but it's not enough. Say you bigger than myself, but it's not enough. I get on their ass, yeah, somebody gotta do it. I made them niggas mad, yeah, somebody gotta do it. I take the G-pad, yeah, watch a nigga do it. We survived outside, all from the music, nigga. What are we? They like, what he on? This is Alpha and Omega, bitch, welcome home. This is not a song, this is a revelation, how to get a nigga gone. I need you a man, baby, I don't understand, baby. Pay your bill and make you feel protected like I can, baby. Teach you something if you need correction, that's the plan, baby. Don't put your life in these weird niggas' hands, baby. It's not enough. Few solid niggas left, but it's not enough. Few bitches that'll really step, but it's not enough. Say you bigger than myself, but it's not enough. I get on their head, yeah, somebody gotta do it. I made them niggas mad, yeah, somebody gotta do it. I take the G-pad, yeah, watch a nigga do it. We survived outside, all from the music, nigga, what? Hey, turn this TV off. Ain't with my type activities, and don't you get involved. Hey, what? How many shit I seen? Send them off. Take a risk or take a trip. You know I'm tripping for my dog. Who you with? Couple sergeants and lieutenants for the get back. This revolution been televised. I fell through with the knickknacks. Hey, young nigga, get your chili up. Yeah, I admit that. Hey, black out if they act out. Yeah, I did that. Hey, what's up, though? I hate a bitch that's hating on the bitch, and they both hoes. I hate a nigga hating on them niggas, and they both broke. If you ain't coming for no chili, what you come for? Nigga feel like he entitled, cause he knew me since a kid. Bitch, I cut my granny off and she don't see it how I see it. Got a big mouth, but he lack big ideas. Send him to the moon, that's just how I feel. Yeah, then it's not enough. Few solid niggas left, but it's not enough. Few bitches that'll really step, but it's not enough. Say you bigger than myself, but it's not enough. Are we really sure that a love that lasted for so long still endure? Do I?
Smoke curling like ants. I like that Honduran cigar, the spirits rise. Smoke curling like ancestors whispering in the skies. Dr. Sebi in my left ear saying heal from inside. This ain't no new land, we the ones they try to deny. Before Columbus ever dreamed of ship to steer, we was building mountains, doing rituals with no fear. From Yucatan to Galveston, New Orleans near. That's a triangle of soul, but the map been clear. Second lines ain't parades, that's ancestral rights. Tambourines and feathers under full moonlight. We ain't immigrants now, we the original might. Built pyramids and bone flutes before Rome took flight. Top cat said it loud, stop begging for permission. Our culture ain't missing, it's just deep in tradition. We ain't African cause they told us we remember the mission. The land speaks Creole, soul food and intuition. We been here through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. And the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. It's our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the tears. Granny sat me down, roll something slow. Said when you puff, give thanks, let the cosmos know. I inhale the jungle, exhale the flow. Spitting stories that the textbook still scared to show. Cigar lit like a torch from ancient rites. Aromas like prayers to the Orishas at night. New Orleans ain't a torch tale, it's black divine. Where the jazz horns been time and the spirits align. Forget Columbus, we was dancing in stars. Trading turquoise, dripping culture in bars. Drums talking codes, spirits moving cars. Look close, the past ain't gone, it's just behind these stars. From Congo Square to Trammy porches, we built this land, no need for endorsements. The Mardi Gras beats ain't just for decor. That's soul armor, homie, we was gods before war. We been here through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. In the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. This our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the here, through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. In the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. This our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the tears. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. This our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing truth through the pain and the tears. I like that Honda.
Peace. Turn up. What up, though? Top of the morning. How you feel? Tell me how you feel. Man, we up early. I'm gonna chop it up with y'all to my barbershop appointment. Whoa. Super fresh. Am I about to do something? Oh, okay. Okay. 2 seconds, y'all. All right. So they say, greatness say my first day getting a notification, getting on live. Crazy work, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube be on some bullshit. Been on some bullshit. Man, how y'all feel though? Top of the top. Let me a little libations. I get the candle lit, man. Get a little sage in here. Get the ancestors in here with us. You did. Yeah, get that good sage in there. And then hit it with that Palo Santo stick. And we're gonna get the vibes in here. Y'all make sure y'all jump on the like button, share the video out. No, we don't get no early shows over here. But we're gonna turn you up. We're gonna turn you up early today. How about that, Jack? Yeah. We gonna go ahead on the run you through the early. Cam say, have you seen what the Somalians are trying to claim Minnesota? Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but I mean, it's a bunch of bullshit, really. You know, some left shit. Keep it gangster. Listen, anytime we see something like that and it get that type of backing from, you know, the news channels and the main gatekeepers and talking heads, then we already know it's a part of their propaganda push. You feel me? Because a lot of shit, real shit, don't make it to the airwaves. But when you see something like that, and you can have Minnesota, well, I won't, you know, I ain't from Minnesota, so I ain't gonna just say that, but I'm just saying, like, y'all niggas out there with tampons in boys' bathrooms. So, yeah, nigga, if you want it, yeah, you really can have it. You know? If you want it, you really can have it. Yeah, it's some political shit, man. It's the left with these old dirty tricks that a nigga keep catching them with. You know what I'm saying? These old played out tricks. And that ain't no different than the Pan-Africans not understanding that, nigga, your window has closed. Period. It's no making up. It's nothing you can say. Said he make 100 videos a day talking about FBA. But at the end of the day, None of the videos that none of these people are saying matter is gonna bring Pan-Africanism back. The people have made up their minds and they not fucking with it. Y'all bad people. That's just word on the block. The homie says the 30% of platinum pack or code usable at checkout. Where it's already, because the platinum pack was $400. So yeah, that motherfucker buy 60% off now. Yeah, the 30 times too. Yeah, that motherfucker was $400. So it's on sale now, man. If you want to get it, go on get it now. I mean, it's more than worth your money. If you getting over 100 videos, so it's more than worth your money. You feel me? So yeah, you'll be paying $2 for motherfucking 6-hour lectures and shit, 5-hour lectures. There's just one, but so many. Speaking of that, I know, hey, everybody, y'all check y'all joints, right? Because you should be added. If you guys had a ticket, make sure y'all got y'all joints. Shout out to BCU New in the building. Yeah, make sure y'all got y'all shit together over there. So the introduction for class. Yeah, make sure you got your introduction and you got your first class. Well, right here, class don't stop. $7 a day. $7.25 a day will get you a seat in class. So we're breaking down the destructing the myth of the transatlantic slave trade. All right. This is also pay as you go option. It's up to y'all. You feel me? But I know they like, damn, Type can't move too fast. No, we not. Nigga, it's a class. It's a 6 to 8 week class. You got a couple days, nigga, to go over it. Everybody got their shit. I know. I sat there one by one and went through it. There was a lot of fucking people, nigga. I got to look up emails and all kind of shit to make sure I got the right nigga. So we done that. Everybody got their shit. So, boom, we out for that. Now we got the slave trade. Destructing the myth of the slave trade. So y'all go tap into that. We got other shit on here too, man. Let's go to the merch, man. Yeah, like we got the shock move frames for $100 right now. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. Man, go shop with the kid. Get you some of that good old merch, you dig? Man, let me tell y'all what happened with the books, bro. I tripped out, man. I can't say it's my fault, or is it? So I had a student edition and I had a teacher's manual. And the box that I had at Fade, the book, all them books I ordered came back student books. Boy, I'm hotter than a firecracker. So, because it ain't shit I can do with them. And I paid a couple $100 for them hoes, and ain't shit I can do with them. Nothing. So, had to go back in. We're going to get it turned up. Man. Let's go to, I guess we'll start here with Chuck Edwards blasting. He coming out swinging.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Edwards, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This year's NDAA strengthens America's military readiness. It invests in cutting-edge defense capabilities. It ensures our service members have the training, tools, and support they need to confront the growing threats that we face at home and abroad. But, Mr. Speaker, I rise today to express my strong opposition to the NDAA provision that seeks to circumvent the established merit-based process for federal tribal recognition and instead grant unchecked federal recognition to the Lumbee community. I'm proud to represent North Carolina's 11th District, home of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, a sovereign tribal nation whose culture, language, and history are a treasure not only to the state of North Carolina, but to the United States as a whole. The Eastern Band of Cherokee are the descendants of those who fought to remain in their ancestral homelands in the face of forced federal removal. By contrast, it must be noted that the Lumbee community has no treaties with the federal government, no reservation land, and no...
Damn. Ooh. But you ain't got a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of, huh? You ain't got no treaties. You ain't got no contact communication. Bro. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm loving it. Pan-African going out of style. All these other things going out of style. You know. And, you know, a lot of the Indians that was in the way have removed them. You know what I'm saying? They got up and got out the way. You know, they moved each other out the way. You know, no more drama like Mary J. Yeah, no more drama in my life. Yeah. Because we don't need no more drama in the Indian community, man. While we fighting each other. You dig? Why we not building? Lack of proper leadership has been shown for years and years and years. I used to always say, damn, at least make a shrine to enshrine the niggas that came through and tried to put something down. Well, that ain't worked neither. And so today, we have here, shit, one of the last of the dying breeds. You did? We say, Grand Rising, early with the knowledge. Let's get it. 35, 40 minutes from me. They dying the wrecking havoc. Yeah, them motherfuckers, they going through it. They got caught. They already said that they got they don't have no language. Secondly, their attire and customs and culture comes off of Hollywood movies. Now that is very disrespectful to a people. And it's the Eastern Band Cherokee with their chest poked out, but they ain't got no right, because guess what? The Lumbee, the same thing that they're accusing the Lumbee of doing is the same case that they need to catch too, because they did the same thing.
Common language. As members of Congress, one of our most solemn responsibilities to ensure that laws are applied fairly, objectively, and consistently. For over 40 years, the Department of the Interior, through the Office of Federal Acknowledgement, has carried out a rigorous merit-based process for determining federal tribal recognition. This process was created by Congress to prevent political favoritism or arbitrary decision-making, as it requires careful documentation and verification, including proof of Native American ancestry. Bypassing this process, as is suggested through this NDAA, by including the Lumbee Fairness Act as an amendment, sets a dangerous precedent. It would invite other groups with unsubstantiated claims to sidestep this process and seek recognition through political channels rather than merit. That undermines the integrity of the recognition process, and it threatens the credibility of Indian country as a whole. The OFA has found that some petitioning groups consisted entirely of individuals unable to demonstrate Native American ancestry.
Damn.
Not a single person. Recognizing these groups would be a disservice to legitimate tribe.
But it sounds like you paying Africans out there, huh? No wonder why y'all always team up with the natives. It sounds just like y'all. Not a single piece of evidence. Damn. Not a single piece? Not even one little piece? Damn, say not even a little piece. No genealogy, not a single person, not one person came back with African records. And not a single Lumbee came back with genealogy tying them back. Oh, it's the mayonnaise. Mayonnaise versus mayo versus mayonnaise.
And in the case of the Lumbee, this amendment would in one stroke create the largest tribe in the country, granting immediate access to already overstretched Bureau of Indian Affairs and Indian Service resources. As a member of the House Appropriations Committee, I'm proud of the work that we've done to provide robust funding for the Indian Health Service and other critical priorities for federally recognized tribes in the fiscal year 2026 Interior Appropriations Bill. But if the tribal population eligible for these services suddenly grows by tens of thousands of people, many of whom have no native ancestry, resources will be spread too thin and the tribes' established rights will suffer.
See, now, y'all see the reason why they don't want to, why they don't want to add y'all, right? It's too many niggas in America that have records of Indian descent. Now, see, when this type of thing happens, they have to come out here and fight in front of everybody. And since they're fighting each other, is Mayo versus mayonnaise Indians. Well, they telling on each other. How the fuck you gonna, you better than me? And they gotta fight in public now. And it's time to let the truth be told. And the way that they're saying, they're the authority over the Indian and they Indian is proper, is they're saying they're using genealogy, treaties, things that people told us, when you hear a black nigga say it, oh, don't worry, they ain't never under the treaty here and all that. That don't mean shit, nigga. Press your line on it. See, that's a nigga with no genealogy. That's somebody who don't know where they are in the story. Because if you did, it would be personal. So there's no reason for these white folks to be out here saying that this is personal to them, that somebody is being a pretendian. But see, that is white on white crime. But I'm loving the show. I got my popcorn.
That's the crux of the issue. If the Lumbee had a case that could withstand the scrutiny of the OFA process, they would go through the OFA process as set out by law. But as they know, it won't hold up under a deliberative process. They've sought special treatment through the legislative shortcuts, despite opposition from more than 140 federally recognized tribes from across the country that have stated the integrity of this process must be preserved. And I agree. Recognition should be earned on the merits, not granted through politics. I urge my colleagues to oppose this provision and uphold the process put in place by Congress decades ago to ensure fairness and integrity in federal tribal.
Mr. Speaker, I yield back. Woo, getting spicy up in there, huh? The Honorable Tom Tillis.
Republicans and Democrats come together on any anything. But when it comes to Lumbee recognition, the support is overwhelming and it's bipartisan. We're talking about support from President Donald J. Trump, President Biden, Vice President J.D. Vance, former Vice President Kamala Harris, Governor Josh Stein, the North Carolina General Assembly, and nearly every member of our state's congressional delegation. Here in the Senate, nearly 24 members from both parties have co-sponsored the Lumbee Fairness Act, including Senator Schatz and Senator Mullen, who sit together on this very committee.
Who gives a fuck?
And maybe most remarkable, more than 235 federally recognized tribes who have stood with the Lumbee people, including the Alaska Federation of Natives, representing 186 tribes and corporations. I also want to offer my special thanks to President Benjamin Mollett and former President Julie Kitka for their unwavering support, unsolicited and unwavering support. This kind of unity is rare. It proves that fairness for the Lumbee tribe isn't partisan. It's simply the right thing to do. The Lumbee's history is long and well documented. They were recognized by the state of North Carolina in 1885 and began seeking federal recognition just 3 years later. That was 137 years ago. During the 20th century, the Lumbee were among the dozens of victims of the termination era, one of the darkest periods in federal Indian policy. In 1956, Congress passed the Lumbee Act. It acknowledged the tribe, but cruelly denied them the benefits and the recognition that every other tribe receives. The federal government has since worked to correct the grave injustices of the termination era for nearly every single tribe, except for the Lumbee. Time and again, the Lumbee have proven their case. The records are filled with testimonies, studies, and reports that all lead to one conclusion. The Lumbee are a tribe fully deserving of federal recognition. The House has acknowledged that repeatedly, passing Lumbee recognition with broad bipartisan support in every Congress since the 116th. This year, it was unanimously included in the House-passed NDAA without a single voice of opposition. In 2022, I promised to identify and expose the small but persistent opposition to this bill. I've done that homework. What I've found is simple. A small handful of well-funded tribes hiring high-priced DC lobbyists to spin half-truths and stir fear. Motivated by profit, not principle. At the center of that opposition is the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians, who I assume you'll hear from today, and their constituents of North Carolina, and their lead advisor, William Pipestem. Plain and simple, their opposition is rooted in financial self-interest.
Yeah.
And that's their right. But let's
heard what old boy say, if we open it up and give thousands more people federal recognition, well, the money starts to thin out. And it's not enough to spread amongst everybody. Yeah, bitch, that's coming out of my pocket. You taking food out of my table. So yeah, that's why they doing it. But see, once we push our line, see, ICE then ran up in the reds already. They told them to keep they cards on them. Now, that showed a lot of vulnerability because before then, the Native Americans were very aggressive, but when they started hitting it, oh man, it was over with. When ICE started running that, it was over with. And then they started questioning it. And then you had these people, who you was taught was from Africans or blacks or whatever, and they're telling you history, they're putting up records, and they're doing things you really can't do. But in your mind, you was already told that you were the indigenous people of America. And when it comes down to the proof, you really don't have any. Now, as I said, white folks started these tribes, charters, like he just spoke about the Termination Act. Well, why did they terminate them? We terminating everybody who's not gonna come under U.S. jurisdiction. Period. Let's walk. That's why y'all should have been in class. Now you gotta catch up. Cause we about to do the transatlantic slave trade this weekend. And y'all still ain't watched the 2 videos that was put up. But I sent it out to everybody, so y'all have time to study. But we can't wait because I still gotta finish a children's book by the end of the year so I can check off everything on my list. Hey, CJ, I want to get with you, CJ, and see if we can get some art. I don't want to do AI. I want to do real art for the children's book. You dig? So chop it up with you offline about that.
Let's not pretend it's anything more than that. The Eastern Band has opposed nearly every recognition effort in their geographic vicinity that might affect their financial interest. They even tried to block the Catawba tribe's land and trust application and lost, something I also supported. Now they're running the same playbook against the Lumbee. They're spending millions of dollars on lobbyists and pay-for-play reports that have been discredited and condemned by the National Congress of the American Indians. It's disappointing to see this kind of money wasted on tearing down other tribes instead of lifting up their own people. However, the lobbying has failed. The ship has already sailed and it's headed full speed towards Lumbee recognition. Today, you'll hear the same tiring talking points, that this is somehow sets a bad precedent, that Congress should sit back and just let the Interior Department handle it. That argument doesn't hold water. Recognition through Congress is the precedent. It is the norm. Since 1978, twice as many tribes have been recognized by Congress as through the administrative process.
Since 1978, twice as many tribes. A lot of these tribes are new. What I tell you, look at their powwow. See how many years of powwow they're under. 25, 30, it's our 40, it's our 36 powwow. Nigga, we damn near got more BCU trips than them niggas got powwows. It's so fake, bro. If you came to class Sunday, then you know what I'm talking about. You got the video. You can go back and watch it. Yeah, that fourth quarter turned up the heat on their ass.
Congress has recognized tribes by legislation many times, including the Little Shell Tribe of the Chippewa Indians and the FY22 NDAA and 6 Virginia tribes in 2017.
Okay, 6 Virginia tribes. These Virginia tribes are supposed to be first contact tribes. Why are they just now getting their federal recognition in 2017? We can't be talking about the same people. We can't be talking about the people from 400 years ago, 300 years ago, because y'all sitting here talking about some shit that happened in the 80s. See, when Tariq and James Smiles fell out, James Smiles got talking about nigga CIA and all that. Tariq say, hey man, he went overseas and asked the Africans for dual citizenship. You know, they was like, they'll give him something, but they ain't got nothing for everybody. You know, so it's all the game. And the more titles or new names niggas come up with, you feel me, or try to come up with, it only makes it worse. It only muddles the water even worse, because at the end of the day, do you have your records or not? If you don't, shut the fuck up, nigga. Get the fuck out of our face. Move around, nigga. You got work to do.
I support it both because it was the right thing to do. Next month will mark 25 years since Congress passed legislation to grant the Shawnee tribe full federal recognition.
The Shawnee got that shit 25 years ago. Some of y'all in here got kids older than 25 years old. Ain't that something? 25, you know when 2020, what 25 years was? The year 2000. So These are millennial tribes. Fam, we are the only one who have the records, the treaties, the genealogy, the shit that they are asking these other people for that they don't even have. We have it. Niggas ain't learn how to find no unity and come together. Everybody want to play big Indian, you know, and come up with a new hot scam for the goddamn people, or a way to fatten their motherfucking pockets. You feel me? And the whole time, niggas done put 10 years in, you know, 9, 8, 7, 6, 7, and ain't did shit. Ain't found a remedy for these people. Man, if a motherfucker been around a decade, nigga, and you still sitting up under them and you still in the same place and position you was in, you the fool. No, square business. You the fool.
So when people say Congress shouldn't act, what they really mean is Congress shouldn't act when they don't like the outcome. I invite anyone with doubts to visit Robeson County, Hope County, or Scotland County. Go to the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, founded by and for the Lumbee people. You'll see the rich Lumbee culture, their deep roots in North Carolina, and their extraordinary contributions to our state and our nation.
They who? They don't even have a language. They don't have a language. They wasn't originally tied to the Cherokee. The only reason why they said Cherokee is because the U.S. government kept fucking with them, kept saying, who is y'all? Them niggas done tried every scam in the book to get in position. The Cherokee, see, that's the problem. The Cherokee that they trying to get under are not the Cherokee in Oklahoma. They trying to get under, you know, the North Carolina, and you fighting their region. Well, they just so happen to be sharing territory. They're a little too close. And the land and the resources ain't big enough for the both of us. So the Eastern Band Cherokee is coming down hard on them. Now, again, we must remember, they came back and told the government, hell, we Cherokee. And the Eastern Man Cherokee, see, for a little while, they played the game with them. And then they came back and, you know, and put them off the set. But the Lumbee been trying to find a way in, as we see, for 25 years.
You'll find a community defined by pride and resilience and service. Educators, first responders, healthcare professionals, small business owners, and farmers.
Nigga, that's Chat GPT. That's Chat GPT. You just, nigga, you came out here and read us some Chat GPT shit.
And situated just miles from Fort Bragg, the largest military installation in the world, you'll meet countless Lumbees and veterans who have served our country honorably and for generations. They've done everything this nation has ever asked of them, and all they ask in return is fairness. I do know one leader who's visited Robeson County and has stood with the Lumbee people, and that's President Trump. Just 3 days into a second term, President Trump made it the official policy of the United States government to support full federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe. That includes access to every federal benefit that they've earned, and now is the time for Congress to act. The Lumbee people have waited long enough. They don't ask for special treatment, only fair treatment. They've earned and deserve full federal recognition. And to my friends and colleagues on this committee, I hope you understand just how important this is. Not only to the Lumbee tribe and the people of North Carolina, but to me personally. Madam Chair, I'm about to wrap it up. I know I'm over time, but I really need to emphasize what personal means to me. I became Speaker in 2011. And shortly after I became Speaker.
Hey, you know what's crazy? This shit personal to these YT people, but it ain't personal to these niggas who came out here and told y'all they were teachers and shit like that, right? Nigga didn't put years. You've been up under these niggas for years. Women too. for years. And every year they had a New Year resolution, nigga. They was finna find a solution. Fucking decade go by and they still on the same shit. Them niggas still at level 1. And you see the mayonnaise people, they are saying it's personal to them. See, the results are not coming from these people y'all been putting y'all trust and hope and faith in, because they not, it ain't even personal to them, because they're not even truly living out their purpose. Them niggas supposed to be doing something else with their life. This is not it. Because in this game, ain't no days off, nigga. You can't, nigga, you on IR, injury reserve. We can't even list you as an active member. That's how long a lot of these people have not been teaching Indian history. But they are known as Indian teachers. What happened to the what happened to the Indian teachers? Did they bail out on the people when they said, hey, fuck it, we done got all we can get out them niggas? I ain't got no solution. Shit, I'm out. Let me out, yo, doe. Hey, let me out, though. Yeah, nigga pull a trade on boys in the hood. Let me out, though.
I met none other than the now chief. He was principal chief at the time, left and is back, Michelle Hicks.
Queen.
He came in to tell me the story about the Cherokee and how they needed a negotiated compact, a new compact.
Texas,
and I told the chief at the time, I said, I need to study this, but quite honestly, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know much about your story in North Carolina. So I took time to figure out that story.
What was the story?
And this bill and that study and the right that I wanted the wrong that I wanted to fix there was embodied in a bill that was passed by none other than me. And it's the only bill in the entire time I was Speaker of the House that I'd allowed to go to the floor that did not have a Republican majority vote. And thankfully, Congressman Tim Moore, who was my rules chair at the time, was able to shepherd this through and create a transformational result for the Eastern Band.
And boy, ain't nothing on that nigga got 2 sentences and 3 signatures on that motherfucker with a date. Ain't that about it? But they don't want us to get to putting out records. Hey, what my auntie say? State of Louisiana made me go back 7 generations. She say, you see the box. All these records, nigga, fill up a huge box. He out here with a piece of paper with a run-on sentence. Yeah, that ain't even 2 sentences. That's a run-on sentence and 3 signatures with a date on that motherfucker. Boy, I tell you, and this the best they got. We will run them out of the gym. None of this, no knock to nobody, but y'all are wasting y'all time. Shout out to Medicine Queen. Man, you was on my heart the other day, man. I had you on my mind. Hope everything going all right. So I'm gonna tap in with you, man. Hope everything all right with you. See, shout out to Medicine Queen. You know what she told me? She say, I got everything you need. I say, ooh, don't you talk to me like that. So what, you gonna take care of me? She said, I'm gonna take care of you. Ooh, don't you talk to me like that. Don't you talk to me like that.
Of the Cherokee. Now, 2 years later, I discovered the Lumbee tribe. And I realized that they were working hard to maintain their culture and to do everything that they could if they were to go through the administrative process.
What culture, fam? The government literally came out and said these people didn't have no language and that their culture was appropriated from Hollywood films. Man, on my mamas. What the government said. So y'all helped Trump get North Carolina, and y'all lobbied and paid lobby and get in position because y'all been wanting this recognition, but you niggas ain't Indians. Will the real Lumbee Indians stand up? Because 25 years ago, 1978, or even 56, 1956, about when North Carolina came into statehood, and they listed all of the Lumbee Indians as Negroes. Can we talk about that? Why aren't y'all Negroes? Because they not arguing for that. They are arguing for these new chartered corporations. The corporations. If you've ever been into a reservation, amen. Now I want you to close your eyes and remember that day you walked into a reservation, because going into a reservation is not like you just walking into like a rodeo field or, no. I mean, when you go, you got to come in, nigga, it's corporate. Yeah, it's corporate. You got to go, so you got to come in the lobby, and now I want you to close your eyes and go into a mega church. It's a corporation. What's going on? You got somebody at the desk. You have security. You have different suites that people do work business out of. You have people taking telephone questions. You have accountants. You have you have all of these systems set in place for you to benefit for the free, no tax. This the shit that I'm talking about. So these corporate charters ain't no different than a mega church. Now, the problem is you have people who, like, they took us, we was Asiatic, them niggas took us to Israel, they took us to Deuteronomy 28 on the African slave trip, they took us to the Gold Coast, West Africa. They just made a mock. They took us to Morocco. Just made a Morocco, just fuck over the people here, right? And now it's mayonnaise, they throwing mayonnaise everywhere now. Time to let the truth be told. The Eastern Band Cherokees do not want the Lumbees there because they do not want to have to split the benefits they have been getting. You taking food out my table. And you know what? You're a white boy. You cosplaying. Whole time, he a YT man cosplaying too. But my relationship with the United States is stronger than yours. But see, the Cherokee and Oklahoma are the real Cherokee. That Eastern band that stayed back, if y'all watched the election, what's up, TP2 Live? Man, I really need to holler at you too. ISIS, what up, though? Who's that lady? Who's that lady? It's funny when we were younger, you were mine, my boo. Now another nigga taking over, but it's still in your eye, my boo. Yeah, so, shit wild. Now, the Eastern Band, we have to remember when we go back in history, the Eastern Band brought in a YT chief. Can I get an amen? So, yeah, their first chief was a YT guy. Hold on. Let me see if I got that on me. Let me see if I got that on me, homie. I might just have to pop out and show niggas. Let me see if I got that on me. Click, clack, boom, clear the whole fucking room. All these niggas heard was kaboom. Hold on. No, I don't want to get out of that. No. Take me. Okay, here we go. Yeah, take me here. Hold on, y'all. Let's get into this.
All right. You're gonna get the Indian Removal Act. And so
Hey, y'all, get y'all class.
Big Yonder, man.
Get ready for class.
Now we spoke about some of the last of the great
Make sure we're on that like button.
Old heads that came out of those parts before niggas started making the decision. After removal, somebody else gonna be faced with that. One of the last OGs. All right. And Big Yonder Gooska. And he was considered to many as the last great chief of the Cherokee. All right.
Considered that by who though? Considered that by who though? By his own people or by the United States? Huh? By the United States, right? Because the United States will call you a savage, you know, a thug, a gangster, a hoodlum. Yeah. Certified dangerous. But this guy wasn't too dangerous. He was actually friendly. You see the historical marker they got up of him?
He consistently cooperated with the United States government.
Ain't that a bitch? He did what, Chief? Nigga was a cooperator. Now, your same man on that stand, he's not even arguing this case because his shit going back to 1978, but he arguing. This guy here, we talking about something that took place in 1819. Can't get amen. 1819. Yeah, he was born in 1760. So, you know, that 1987, that 1956, none of those things are holding up against the real Eastern Band Cherokee. Why? Because those Mayo people are not the original. But let's find out what happened with the original and why the Western Cherokee don't fuck with them.
Gonna be faced with that. One of the last OGs. All right. And Big Young.
What's up, OG? And, where you been at?
He was considered to many as the last
great chief. What's cracking with it, cuz
all right. And
time in the building.
He consistently cooperated with the United States government. nigga out here cooperating, Keith.
That nigga cooperated.
He was cool. And he also banished liquor for his people. So
right, because he was a drunk. He couldn't hold his motherfucking liquor.
And then he ended up, during the Indian removal, he rebuilt the Eastern Band of Cherokees. And if you know anything about them, they are very whitewashed.
Very whitewashed. Very, very
pale. So his son, who was adopted, he was considered white under the law and could legally buy land. And so he was allowed to live on the property. So I'm sure that had its downfalls as well.
Yeah, so he got that land, what they call the Kuala boundary. And as head chief, he consistently urged peace.
What up, though, family?
He played a prominent role.
Hey, hold on, y'all. See, y'all woke up this morning, ain't see this coming. What G say? Woke up this morning, ain't see this coming. Yeah, chief coming out putting their work. Them Eastern Band Cherokee popping that shit, nigga. Y'all ain't nobody. Y'all imposters. Y'all cooperated with the U.S. to get that. You know, what y'all claim y'all fighting for, but that wasn't even y'all. But y'all trying to live off this name. But y'all cooperated, homie. If we're gonna let's tell the real story. And they one of the most racist tribes that's out right now. Facts.
In the meeting between Cherokee chiefs and Tecumseh in 1811. This conference resulted in the Cherokee refusal to join Shawnee leader in alliance with the British for offensive against the United States. Tecumseh and them stepped to him, man. Shout out to them boys out there in Cali, man. When they said the OGs met up, goddamn, and they end up bringing together the West Side and the East Side Crips, goddamn, back in the game. Tecumseh and them stepped to them niggas, man, and asked them, man, can we bring this shit together, bro? And then nigga said, I ain't gonna be able to do it. He was riding with the United States. And so right here, again, I want y'all to understand what we're seeing these two. You have these Indian tribes. Some of these people are saying, nope, I'm gonna fight with these people. I'm gonna stay with them. I'm out the way. And other people are saying they're not gonna help. These people are gonna stand by because they're benefiting from what's taking place. So let's walk.
They're benefiting. And so what did the Eastern Cherokee niggas say? They don't want to have to split the profits because it's going to get thin, bringing in thousands of other people who ain't even got no records of being Indian. But they want the benefits. See, they cooperated. Yeah, let the truth be told, like Zero say. They cooperated, and that's how they got what they got. Check. And yeah, and so the Cherokees in Oklahoma gonna try to big Indian them because they can.
Big Yana, he gonna end up. This is where you gonna get your Eastern band from. You know what I mean? And he had a son, and like she said, a white son, goddamn, and he would later become a Cherokee chief. They say he wouldn't, but Thomas persuaded other Cherokee chiefs to recognize Big Oka land claims in the Treaty of 1819.
And the North Carolina citizenship.
In North Carolina, an American, as a North Carolina and as an American citizen, Big Yoga Nuska helped the United States Army with the removal and locating fugitive Cherokees in the mountains.
Huh? If we gonna tell it all. Yeah, run it. You know who it is. Big Chief, run it. Mr. Source your ass up. See, they out there telling on each other. Hey, Cuzzo say he like that. Nice, yeah, nice and neat. Nice and neat, Groove. Nice and neat. When the wind blows, stay smooth on my toes, man. Nice and neat. Clean them up. Yeah, so they became U.S. citizens, but they ran around them and they Cherokee. This is the play.
Cold shit. They going up there, nigga hiding out and look out on them. They can't get up there, them English boys.
What they do, they assisted they went and helped the United States Army chase down the Indians that went to go hide in the mountains. Pussy.
Don't know the maps, and here these niggas come with handcuffs and shotguns. It's always gonna be your own niggas. I always say these niggas couldn't have did shit without you niggas. And that's when we coming to the Treaty of Choke.
All right, let's bounce back over here. So I'm trying to figure out why they got an attitude. Why they talking with authority? Huh? So yeah, nigga just ran your origin story up. How are y'all talking with authority?
Prove that they'd done the homework, which is why I signed another bill making sure that their cultural heritage could be maintained and continue to go through the process that they were prepared to go through. But the defect in the statutes is going to prevent this from happening. The only way this happens is through federal recognition and through an act of Congress. So, Madam Chair, I appreciate your leadership and I've appreciated your friendship in the 10 and a half years, almost 11 years that I've been here. But when I tell you it's personal to me, it's because it's an injustice that needs to be righted. I look forward to your serious consideration, and I look forward to listening to the testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tillis, for your
30 years, we have benefited from at least 9 hearings before this committee. Throughout the time, we have received strong support from past committee chairs such as Senators Ben Knight Horse Campbell, Daniel Inouye, Daniel Kaka.
Review of this matter is long overdue. Your commitment to that standard honors every federally recognized tribe and the integrity of this committee's work. I speak today not to question anyone's personal identity or heritage. This is not about policing identity. It is about evidence. It's about documentation and the integrity.
It's about documentation. So FBA, y'all run around here talking about a lineage. Say, man, y'all better be trying to connect yourself to one of these treaties or have somebody document. Yeah, you gonna need that. See, this is a paperwork fight, homie. Listen, when a nigga brought this fighting style to the game, homie, and said, nigga, we are guaranteed 100% results. Niggas had all other kind of ways to do it. Got niggas all in the Bible and we speak in Paleo Hebrew and all that shit ain't none of that shit gonna help us. It can't do a bitch ass thing for us.
The federal recognition process. I stand here as principal chief and as the voice of generations of Cherokees who safeguarded our.
Y'all want to see the Cherokees go one-on-one? Get some flames in the chat. We finna get the Eastern Cherokees who cooperated with the treaty party Cherokees. Check that went to Oklahoma. Get it? Yeah, both of them, you know, pie. Yeah, and a lie. But we finna watch them tangle.
Identity safeguarded our language and our sovereignty through centuries of forced removal, division, boarding schools, and unprecedented political pressure. This bill asks Congress to recognize a group that has never demonstrated descent from any historical tribe. Let me be clear. For more than a century, this group has cycled through claimed identities, the Croatan, Tuscarora, Siouan, Chirral, and even the Cherokees.
See, and that's the problem. When they were trying to make their claim, they tried to use the Siouan tribes, most of the Siouan-speaking tribes, Croatan, Tuscaroras, and all of that. But you can't do that. The Tuscaroras left with the Iroquois and went up north. Y'all situation got a little shaky later. Now, John Fox, when Fox and the Quakers, because the Quakers originated in North Carolina. Then they pushed up to Philadelphia in 1681 when William Penn got the charter from the Black Boy King Charles II. You did. So you also had what's his name? He was a Mason, man. What's my boy name? He was the chief of the Tuscarora. Anyway. So they tried when they wanted to prove or get recognition, they tried to use Croatan, they tried to use Chirral, they tried to use all of these names. None of this shit worked. They went over there with, none of it worked. The Lumbee did the same thing. And then the Lumbee tried to claim Cherokee and the Eastern Man got, this is how we get here. The Eastern Man said, no. You ain't taking food out of my table.
Their members self-identified as Cherokee on federal school applications. And
okay, so y'all don't even give us that option. Because they recognize they're recognized. You know how they say if you want reparations, you got to be claiming black, checking black boxes for at least 10 years. Well, that's what they trying to say. They've been living and identifying as Indians for this long. We should let them be Indians.
They petitioned Congress for recognition as Cherokee. Some individuals still assert Cherokee identity today. When those claims were rejected because they could not be substantiated, The group adopted yet another identity. This is not a pattern of
And what was
continuous
that?
tribal existence. It is a pattern of shifting assertions driven by circumstance,
No,
not
fuck
historical evidence. If Congress passes this
Circumstance.
bill, this group would be the first American history to receive federal recognition without demonstrating any descent from a historical tribe. This is not.
Can I get an amen? I want y'all to hear what they saying. Nigga, I'm up early so you can get this work. This good home cooking, good breakfast, southern breakfast. Yeah, we got 4 pokes. We got breakfast pork chops. We got sausage link. We gonna cut it down the middle and burn both sides, front and back. Nigga, we got toast. We got pancakes. We got eggs. We got bacon. We got ham. We got grits. We got orange juice. We got water. We got milk. Yo, we cooking early in the morning. Listen to them. Tell it.
Fairness, it is abandonment of every safeguard that protects tribal sovereignty and identity.
Yeah,
The Office of Federal Acknowledgement exists to ensure recognition. Decisions rely on
recognition for what?
proof, not assertion,
Exactly.
documentation, not desire,
Not conversation. Documentation, not conversation.
historical truth, not political pressure. Recognition confirms a documented tribal reality. It does not create one. Congress has also been misled on the cost. Independent analysis shows the real price is in the billions. Diverting treaty-based resources away from tribes with proven history and legal rights.
They say they want to sue for $1 billion. They say the U.S. owe them $1 billion. Ooh-wee. $1 billion. Check them out, y'all. Here go the West Coast Cherokee.
Had a separation from the Cherokee Nation in the year 2000. It was there is a path established to federal recognition. The Office
You know,
of
the
Federal
Shawnee tribe, right? Who just came in 25 years ago. Okay, let's hear what this 25-year-old tribe got to say.
Acknowledgement. It exists to examine the history, continuity, and nationhood. It is open to the Lumbee, but they have been told that they may use it. They refuse. The truth is simple. People confident in their history do not avoid the place where history is examined. So I close with where I began.
Get the lights
sovereignty.
up.
Tribal nations predate the United States. Federal recognition does not create us. It acknowledges us. If Congress replaces documented history with political momentum, if identity becomes a matter of assertion rather than continuity, then this body will not be recognizing tribes, it will be manufacturing them. And once that begins, sovereignty will not be defined by history.
Man, see, I'm going to keep it gangster with you. Me in there on the conversation like this, I'm not using notes because I'm square business about what I'm talking about. I'm square business about the people that I'm representing. I'm square business about the voice of the voiceless. You don't need no paper, nigga, if it's sincere. But they throwing the word this personal to me around. So check them out.
But
I gotta get my haircut, man.
And
Niggas,
that was established by an act of Congress.
Act of Congress. How many paths of recognition is there for a tribe to go through?
You have the act of
how many paths is there for a tribe to go through?
Congress. You have an OFA process.
And you chose to go through Congress because?
We had an OFA review. It came down to a document that was signed by Fred Half Moon in the 60s. And if our continuity of government, it hinged upon that government had been continuous. So as part of our separation, our separation was not identifying us as a tribe. It was separating our tribe from the Cherokee Nation. We relate to the Oklahoma.
But you asked for recognition through Congress, right?
That was how our process happened. Yes, sir.
Do you believe the Lumbees are native?
It's not what I believe, sir. I have no belief in the matter. My matter is in the OFA. I believe in the process. I believe.
Whoa, that's a simple, direct question. Do you believe that the Lumbees are natives? Hell to the no. Lumbees ain't native. And that's why he can't even give a straight answer. Y'all see this, right? Hey, boy, the ancestors working. They say, man, we just need a little help. They just need us to step up. And a lot of niggas step back. Inactive. We got inactive Indians out here. When now is the time to get active.
That the OFA process exists whenever
But isn't there two
historical
ways?
evidence.
Isn't there two ways to be recognized, right? Congress has authority to recognize, correct?
I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's two ways.
Chief Hicks, do you believe the Lumbees are native?
I think there is potentially native descent. It doesn't make them a tribe.
Potential, really. BCU, let's get this work.
Why did North Carolina recognize them in 1885?
In 1985.
North Carolina, and to my understanding, has different standards for the recognition. I'm not sure today that the Lumbee could pass the standards that have been put in place by the state of North Carolina.
Did the federal government recognize them in 1956?
To my understanding, and my conclusion of the 1956 acts is simply recognize the name of those who self-proclaimed Indian in a 5-county.
This is the Eastern Man Cherokee versus the Western Man Cherokee
area in eastern North Carolina.
Did the federal government recognize them as a tribe in 1956? That was my question.
So. Not in my conclusion.
So, do you believe there's two paths for recognition, and Congress has a right to have to recognize them?
I do agree with that. Yes.
Now you raised up concerns that it was the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that was part of my testimony.
So if it's the cost, should the federal government not recognize any more tribes coming in?
That wasn't the point of the cost. I think it needs to be
Well,
considered.
it is, because when you're raising cost, you're raising the cost that it would be to recognize the Lumbee tribe. Because I do believe they're native. I've been accused of not being native, and I always laugh, and I said, I can't control who my ancestors loved, but I still live on the same allotment land where my family stopped walking, because I am Cherokee, and I'm proud to be Cherokee, and my family's been there since 1840, but yet I've been accused because I may not look full native. And I have a problem when someone starts saying that. I actually take it a little personal.
Uh-oh. Didn't I tell you they throwing their personal word around? They throwing their personal word around. Yeah, I'm Cherokee, 1840. I got my records. So I take it personal when a nigga false claiming the shit like an Eastern Band Cherokee. So we got the Western Band versus the Eastern Band. Oh, it's a Mayo fight. Easton ran in there already. It's all breaking down. And we ended up and it all fall down.
And Chief, there's actually a split between Cherokee Nation and the Eastern Band. Would you agree?
What is your question?
There was a split between Cherokee Nation and the Eastern Band. Cherokee Nation.
Hey, watch this one. He finna set him up. That was a split, wasn't it, homie? Huh? Excuse me? It was a split between the East and the West, right?
My ancestors, we walked, and the Eastern Band stayed back. Correct?
That is correct.
But you were fairly recognized. Shouldn't you be recognized underneath Cherokee Nation at that point?
I mean, if you look
because we're all descendants, Cherokee Nation.
They don't even look alike.
Would I get to respond?
Sure.
So if you look at, the history of recognition, obviously the OFA was not established till 1978.
Mm-hmm.
1978.
The government, stopped doing treaties in 1871. The Cherokees, without question, was an established government. And, if you look at,
I know the history of the recognition. I get that.
Yeah, fuck all that. I don't need a history lesson. I need an answer for the direct question.
The point is that you're saying that the Lumbees that they are or aren't descendants of the Eastern Band or Cherokee Nation, really, because Cherokee is Cherokee, so it'd be your descendants of Cherokee Nation, in my opinion. But you're saying that they should be recognized because there should be part of you, but you should be part of Cherokee Nation. It doesn't make any sense to me because you're complaining about cost, you're complaining about their path of recognition, and you're complaining that they may or may not be Native because they don't have the heritage behind it. And I'm saying, well, they were recognized in 1885. The cost shouldn't matter because if that's the cost, then we shouldn't allow any more tribes to come in, and we should stop enrollment because we have a federal obligation as Congress, a treaty obligation, a constitutional obligation to have oversight of the tribes. We have the authority to be able to recognize tribes without question. And it just seems like this argument continues to go through because of my opinion of the territory dispute. That's my opinion. Because you can't look over there and say they're not Native. I mean, turn around and look, and you're telling me they're not Native?
No,
I've seen the
they're
crowd.
not.
Okay, and you're saying that that's not Native faces?
No.
That's not for me to determine. That's for the OFA
but we are
process.
determining it.
Ah,
And that's why I
OFA
support recognizing them.
ah.
Because my fight up here has been always
Yeah,
for
you
Native
gotta fight
Americans.
about it,
I was shocked.
Millie.
And when I got up here, that when I first got to Congress, it was just Tom Cole and I were the only Natives in Congress at the time. And I'm in the Senate, and I'm the only Native American in the Senate now. And
Ah,
I hate when we fight among ourselves because we should all be in the same boat, rowing the same direction. If we're Native, then we were wronged a long time ago by the United States.
they're
And
native.
we've been fighting for recognition for a long time.
They're native, buddy.
And when we have in-house fighting, it causes Congress sometimes to have an impasse. And I think you know that. This happens all the time. A lot of times it has to do with gaming. And all we're saying is the Lumbees have a right to be recognized just like you have the right to be recognized.
And we don't disagree with that as long as it's through the OFA process.
But if they have two options, why is it your opinion that they can't choose the one to go through Congress?
Because that's why this department is established. It's for evidence and.
But there's clearly two paths.
substantiation.
And I appreciate the paths they took. Chair, thank you for the extra time. Thank you for allowing me to go first. For the record, that's already been established by the Interior, they do support this process and they support the Lumbees of becoming recognized. And I too also support the Lumbees of being recognized.
Thank you, Senator Mullen. Senator Schatz.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the testifiers. Just a couple of thoughts before I ask Professor Locklear a couple of questions. You know, I think it's really important to assume good faith here. And what I've heard is a kind of concerning series of accusations about bad faith. And I'm trying to go back to 1888 and imagine that the Lumbee people, whatever they were calling themselves, whatever language they were using at the time, says, you know what, why don't we pretend we're a tribe and petition the federal government? If this is a conspiracy, it is long-standing, kind of odd, counterintuitive conspiracy. The more likely explanation is what the Department of Interior said about 90 years ago, 100 years ago, when they explicitly said, we're not going to recognize this tribe because the census is too large, because we can't afford to absorb the cost of delivering services. And I think that is, by the way, I think that's a valid concern for congressional appropriators, right? If we are to recognize Lumbee, the rolls just increased. The total number of people in Indian country went up, which means IHS, BIE, BIA, and all of those services are going to have to increase by the percentage that the rolls increase. And so that's a real issue. It's just not a reason not to grant recognition. And the reason I'm animated about this is that I don't know whether Native Hawaiians are ever going to come back to this Congress and seek recognition. But I remember, I was not here, but I remember when Danny Akaka, chairman of this committee, tried to get recognition. And the arguments were, do you know how many people that is? Do you know how much that's going to cost? And then, well, they're not Indians. And so I don't take it as personally as Senator Mullen, but I do take it personally. And I'll just say one other thing. You can go through the administrative process or you can not. But the Constitution vests not just the Congress, but this committee with this authority. So it may be that you think we should have gone, or these folks should have gone through the administrative process. Fair enough. But that is not a meaningful obstacle to consideration of Lumbee recognition. So, Professor Locklear, I just want to give you an opportunity to, again, respectfully, rebut some of the claims made by the opponents of this legislation. Three things. Lumbee has used different names for themselves, that they have no language, and that they do not descend from a historic tribe. Could you address those three assertions?
With pleasure, Senator, and thank you for the question. First of all, with regard to the name and why it came about, the Lumbee children in 1884 were not able to go to school. Our children could not read or write. We were not allowed to attend either white or African American schools. In 1885, our leaders sought recognition from the state of North Carolina for the purpose of establishing schools for our children. We prevailed with the assistance of a Mr. McMillan in the House, who deemed himself to be an amateur historian at the time. Mr. McMillan chose the name Croatan for our people. But in his legislation, he did important things. He established a government-to-government relationship. He allowed the creation of an independent school system run by the tribe, limited to tribal children, and taught by members of the tribe. To my knowledge, no other tribe in the United States can claim that history. So beginning in 1885, we controlled our own school system until the 1970s, when a federal district court ruled that the state of North Carolina must desegregate its school system. We thought we were exempt from that because, after all, we are an Indian tribe. But the judge told our parents, you must bus your children because this is a racial classification, because you are not.
Don't you love it? It's a Mayo fight. Ain't they telling on each other? Go on, bring it on that. They called the white boy out who made the name up. Bring it on that. Woo, they acting bad in here today, huh? Colonizer versus colonizer. We just watched the old Pan-Africans versus the new Pan-Africans. Now we watching the colonizer versus the colonizer. Boy, sit back and eat your popcorn, Indians.
Not federally recognized.
Okay, and to the language?
Yes. There is no requirement in either Supreme Court or other federal court authority or the acknowledgement regulations that our opponents so warmly embrace that require the presence of a language.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things, it seems to me, are they are
why you have a language?
They are historical facts, and they are they happened because of United States federal government policy. We lost language because of federal policy. People lost a land base because United States federal government policy. And then it is not surprising that the Department of Interior repeatedly rejected the claims of the Lumbee people, because the Department of...
They sound like Pan-African. No answers, all excuses. Ain't that a bitch? No answers. All excuses. Ain't that a bitch? But get what, buddy? It ain't good enough. That ain't gonna cut it. And you Pan-African reparationists and all y'all need to learn from this. What matters here? Your genealogy. your genealogy and your tribal affiliations. That's all that matters, because this is Indian country.
Interior, I mean, the idea that we should accept the precedent of the Department of Interior from generations back, when I think there is unanimous bipartisan agreement that the whole purpose of this committee is to reverse all of those policies, termination and assimilation. And to use that as a proof point against recognition, I find to be not compelling. Now, there are criteria that we're to use to determine whether or not to recognize Lumbee. But the idea that, well, DOI didn't do it in 1930, or they don't have their own language. Well, there are, and frankly, we work a fair amount on language revitalization, and there are a lot of tribes that have very few native speakers left or none. And so none of this is disqualifying, because frankly, many, many native people across the country have experienced that. I did not expect to get so exercised, but I appreciate your testimony.
If I may I offer
With the
one
chair's
final-
permission.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. One final fact on the language point that I think is important. Vine Deloria, when he testified in 1988, made note of the fact that he had not only personal knowledge of the Lumbee tribe, but also family knowledge of the Lumbee tribe, because his aunt, Deloria, had gone down to the community, who was a noted linguist, for the purpose of studying the remnants that remained of tribal languages. And she made note in 1940 that those remnants existed, and her purpose was to establish a dictionary. She did not complete that work because she was not able to get funding. They were not interested in our community to do so.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Chief Hicks, I want to direct this to you because you have made very clear that on behalf of the Eastern Band, that you think that the Lumbee should go through the Office of Federal Acknowledgement, through the administrative process, rather than come through recognition through Congress. Maybe it is accurate that the administrative route is perhaps more costly, harder to do, subjective. Maybe we need to look at that in terms of whether greater oversight is needed there. But as Senator Mullen has indicated, there are two tracks, two routes that you can proceed for recognition. I almost find it curious that federal recognition is ultimately about a political relationship between a sovereign tribe and a federal government. So it just seems somewhat curious that we actually set up a process where that decision can be delegated entirely to an administrative state. But I'm not going to ask you to resolve that question for me. What I want to turn to is your written testimony. You claim that the Lumbee situation is uniquely beyond Congress's capacity to understand and evaluate. Can you explain why you feel it is unique in some way, separate from other tribes that have gained recognition through Congress? Because again, we have this process. It has been repeatedly exercised in terms of its constitutional authority to gain tribes. So if you can cite to what you feel are some of the unique aspects as to why Congress should not be the avenue here.
Thank you, Chair Lady, for that question. I think, if you look at the gaps that have been clearly identified by historians, by researchers, related to the history, these are aspects that I feel need expertise. They need genealogists. They need historians.
They need who?
On a daily basis. And
they need BCU.
Unfortunately, congressional staff don't always have
the world
that expertise
BCU.
to really dig into, the subject matter documents or the church records or, court records, things of that nature to really relate back to what is necessary as we feel to prove what you're saying is substantiation. And so again, I think as you look at, that setup and that structure, OFA is better suited to make these determinations.
How do you respond then to Ms. Locklear's statement that she made early on, that given the number of congressional hearings here in the Senate, in the House, that this issue of federal recognition that Lumbee is seeking has not established quite a voluminous congressional record with which to be able to turn to?
I truly believe that, if the Lumbee group would go through the OFA process, they would get the answer that they're looking for, wherever that answer falls. And, as you think about, this issue is well over a century old, and it continues to come back to the same conclusion. There's too many gaps in the genealogies. There's too many gaps in the history. There's no treaty relationships. Lumbee does not have a sister tribe in Oklahoma. There's so many things here that need to be evaluated. That's the importance of why it needs to go through the OFA process.
So, Ms. Locklear, let me turn to you.
They don't call them going for the American studies for
congressional recognition is needed to correct what you have termed an injustice.
I feel good, and I knew that I would now.
Beyond that, you've got some practical differences between recognition through Congress and recognition from the federal acknowledgement process. You've got the ability to take land into trust, particularly in the post-carciary world here. Can you speak to some of these practical differences between the legislative and administrative recognition, and whether you think those are drivers for this legislation?
Absolutely, they are. Let me summarize with just a few points. First of all, I think it's important to put this controversy in some general history. As the Special Indian Agent reported in 1915, McPherson report, there is a history of 300 years of hostility between the Cherokees to the west and the ancestors of the Lumbee people, including the Shira, the Hatteras, and related Siouan-speaking people. And we just have, I think it's important to understand that context. As to the other issues, so as a practical matter, because of that, only Congress can resolve it forever. We have been at this for more than 100 years now, and I guarantee you that were the tribe to go through the acknowledgement process and succeed, as I am confident we would, there would be a lawsuit filed by the Eastern Band of Cherokee to try to set that administrative agency decision aside. That would not resolve it.
Yes, it will
There's
be.
one way to finally resolve it, and that's through a
Their
conclusive
relationship with the United States has been longer than y'all had.
As you also implied, there is a problem with the carciary issue, which relates to eligibility of newly recognized tribes to receive land in the trust and thereby be treated like all other federally recognized tribes. Because of that 2009 Supreme Court decision on carciary, the only way to resolve the eligibility of the Lumbee for that process is through an act of Congress. Only Congress can clearly indicate that it considers the 1934 date to be insignificant, and whatever may arise out of the carciary decision, notwithstanding those terms, the tribe is nonetheless eligible for the land in the trust process. And finally, if there is going to be a special addressing of the cost factor, we don't think it's necessary, which I'm happy to expand on, but only Congress can do that as well. Congress is the one who appropriates the money, and if there needs to be more money for the Lumbee services, Congress can do that. We think the existing processes for appropriations will protect the presently recognized and IHS processes provide through the appropriation of additional funding that pay for those services. Will the Lumbee members receive those services at the end of the day? So federally recognized tribes now are protected. That being the case, if they believe there should be an increase in federal funding for the IHS and the BIA, again, that's a political decision to be made by the Congress. So we think for all of those factors, one final one, if I may. Only one other time in history has the Congress put an Indian tribe in the same position that it put the Lumbee tribe in 1956. And that was with the Islero del Sur Pueblo of Texas. Congress passed a statute in 1968 for that tribe, which was at the time federally recognized, which basically said, we
1968.
transfer any responsibility we have for this tribe to the state of Texas.
Civil rights era.
And we're going to impose termination language upon the tribe. And in the legislative history on that act in the Senate, it specifically says that 1968 act, which then referred to the natives as Tiwas of Texas, was modeled upon the 1956 Lumbee Act, the only other time Congress has done that. And Congress fixed that problem in 1987 by passing legislation to recognize fully the Islero del Sur Pueblo of Texas. Now, if Congress does the same for us, there are no other tribes in that position, and that's what makes it fair and just, as well as the only appropriate and fully dispositive way to finally and conclusively resolve these issues.
Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments for everyone and the uniqueness of the hearing today. Ms. Locklear, let me ask you this. There's two ways to get this recognition. We've talked about that. One is through Congress. You've talked about that.
Yes.
And then the other is through the DOI and the Office of Federal Acknowledgement. Am I hearing today that we should eliminate the Office of Federal Acknowledgement and just rely on Congress to do this in the future?
Not at all. Not at all.
So do you have any concerns with the Office of Federal Acknowledgement and how the process plays out?
Historically, we have, and we have expressed those along with other non-federally recognized tribes in various
But I'm saying now, right now, not historically, now.
It is
because I'm
greatly
here now
improved.
and we need to address this. Are there any concerns that you have with the office right now?
It has greatly improved as a result of the changed regulations in 2015.
Okay, so can I just say, Chairman Lowry, what's to stop you? It sounds like you have the support of the administration, you have support of DOI. What's to stop you from going through that process now and getting what you're seeking, but go through an evidence-based process to address some of the concerns that we've heard from the other tribe?
Yes, ma'am. Although there has been changes to the BIA process, we still do not know if it's going to take 20 to 30 years, just like it already does. And I don't want my people waiting another 30 years to go through the process. And then once there has been a rendering done by BIA, there will be opponents who can then bring forth a lawsuit. And I have no doubt that the Eastern Band of Cherokee 30 years from now will bring forth a lawsuit that will take us into another 10 to 20 years. And then 50 years from now, my grandson will be sitting here doing the same thing.
So the concern is that there would be a lawsuit to any decision that was made.
Absolutely. And the concern is how many decades is it going to take? So I think Congress really needs to take a look at the BIA process. I don't know any other government program that takes 20 to 30 years to come to a
Ms.
conclusion.
Locklear, let me ask you, because does the process, is that part of the problem? Do we need to look at the OFA and say this process is taking 30 years? It's too long?
Frankly,
do we need to address this in Congress?
That may be the case, Senator.
Is that true?
Well,
At this point, we don't have enough experience with how the new regulations will be administered to give a full answer to that question.
So there's new regulations now that the tribe has not gone through, so you don't know how long it would take. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So let me ask you, both Chief Hicks and Chief Barnes, you talked about this. Let me just say, I understand the two ways to do this. One's through Congress, but you got to get the votes of the members of Congress. No guarantee you're going to get that. But there's also an evidence-based approach. I'm not in a position to look out in the audience and like some of my colleagues to say who is a member and who isn't. Just like I'm not in a position, and I don't think I should be looking out in my community and saying just because you have brown skin, you're undocumented. Yeah. So there has to be an evidence-based approach. And that's why it wasn't created in Congress. But if it's not working, I would want to know, because that's not fair. But we need to hear that conversation. And so let me ask both Chief Barnes as well as Chief Hicks. Talk to me about this evidence-based approach and why it is so important that the administration have a process like this.
If I may, Senator, and thank you for that question. I'll give an example of one that did take a considerably shorter time, was Little Shell Tribe, where Little Shell was denied at OFA, and then they went through a congressional process. Indian country decried that and said, no, you got this one wrong. The Chippewas came together and says, no, we've got this one. You got this one wrong. This one is a tribal nation. And historically, because of a technicality on Little Shell is a tribal nation. So that is one of those instances where the OFA process, even though it's flawed, and I don't know of any federal institution that's perfect at this time, even though the OFA is not perfect, it still yielded some results on behalf of Little Shell, which ultimately did tribal nations come together and say on their behalf, look at the evidence, and this technicality should not keep Little Shell from being a tribe. All we ask is they follow the same path as Little Shell, go through the OFA process.
Okay. Chief Hicks, anything else to add to the
Yeah, just,
process?
I do feel, as I responded earlier, is that, the OFA is, it's without question uniquely equipped to critically evaluate, all the related criteria. And there's several criteria that come into play, based on the claims. And, having skilled, highly skilled and professional experienced folks to be able to do that, I think is critical. But I do want to just respond to the other question around the OFA process. We have openly supported the expedited approach, for this group to go through this process in more than one scenario. And we still feel that there is an opportunity to not extend this 20 or 30 years, that it's something well short of that, to do this evaluation properly and to get the answer that is being sought in a timely manner. And again, publicly, we support that. And we think that it is a good decision point.
So you would support, if they were to go through that process, you would work with them to say this needs to be expedited by the administration. We want something in a timely fashion.
Without question.
And let me stop there. I know my time is up. Madam Chairwoman, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I just have a couple more questions here this afternoon. And I'll probably direct this to you, Chairman Lowry. It's pretty clear that a tribe's authority to basically determine to define its membership is really central to its existence as an independent political community. The legislation that Senator Tillis has introduced directs the Secretary of Interior to verify the Lumbee tribe's role for service delivery purposes. The verification is limited to confirming documentary proof that members meet the criteria established in the tribe's constitution that was adopted November of 2001. So a couple questions for you this afternoon. Right now, as it stands, what is required for enrollment in the Lumbee tribe?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the question, Senator.
Hey,
So we have a
letting
base
these
roll.
people
We
be
have a couple
smarter
of base
than
rolls.
us?
One is the 1900 census and one is the 1910 census. And the reason those are our base rolls is because that's the first time that the federal government in the standard census process actually identified American Indians. And so you have to be able to trace
That's
your
not
lineage directly
true.
back
That's
to
not
1900
true.
or 1910
Why y'all don't want to
census.
talk about the
So
Lumbees
if you
in
do
the
not have
1700s?
a
What
ancestor
y'all did
that
to
was
the people
documented
and
by a
stole all their
federal
land?
census as an American Indian, you
Going
cannot
into
be a member of
early
our tribe. Also, you have to maintain
mid
contact. So we're very big on, if you do not live
19th
home, you have to
century.
come back home. You have to come back to the homelands. And
So what does that mean when you
You
say
got to come back
maintain
to the
contact?
homeland.
yes,
Come back for like an annual meeting, or what specifically?
well, we have it where you have to come back every 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
So you have to come back, you have to visit, you have to maintain a relationship with your people. So you cannot become, you cannot go and get your citizenship and then leave out and never come back home. So we require our citizens to come back and to maintain contact with their tribal community.
And at this moment, how many do you currently have enrolled?
We have just over 60,000 enrolled citizens of Lumbee Tribe, North Carolina.
And then the source documents for enrollment are the the two that you have just described? You have to
Yes,
be able
ma'am.
to trace back to just those two.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then this one is probably directed to you, Ms. Locklear. There's been a fair amount of discussion today about the various names over the course of a century. And it wasn't until later that the Lumbee officially adopted their name. Because the point has been kind of disputed by witnesses today and made a little bit of an issue. Can you state for the committee record today which historical tribe or tribes the Lumbee tribe descends from?
I can, and I can do so based on the record that's been developed by this committee. There are two principal sources for that. The O.M. McPherson report from 1915, which identifies the ancestry of the tribe as the coastal North Carolina tribes, Siouan-speaking, related tribes, including the Chirral, the Hatteras, and others. In addition, you had the testimony of John Swanton, a preeminent anthropologist in the field, in 1934, who testified that in his view, the tribe descended principally from the Chirral and related Siouan-speaking tribes. That's been the consistent theory. As a result of that theory, the Lumbee people became dissatisfied with the name that the state of North Carolina had imposed upon them in the various state laws that recognized the tribe. First Croatan, then Indians of Robeson County, and then Cherokees of Robeson County. And as a result of that pressure from the Lumbee tribe, in 1952, the state of North Carolina conducted a referendum among our members and said, which name do you choose to go by? And we overwhelmingly, almost unanimously chose the name Lumbee, which, as I indicated earlier, we had used informally since at least the 1920s. That's important too, though, because it shows a link between the current Lumbee tribe and the Chirral community. The Lumbee tribe resides around Lumber River. Lumber River was named that in 1809 by the state of North Carolina. Previously, it was known as Drowning Creek. And the first recorded map of the area in 1724 by John Herbert identifies the Chirral residing around Drowning Creek. We have been there ever since. It's the same community regardless of the name. And let me say in one final point that, again, the administrative process that our opponents so embrace specifically provides that if there is an entity, a collective entity that has existed for at least 50 years, which is plainly the case at Lumbee since 1885 in the school records and the federal census records that show it, that entity can be recognized, and I'm quoting here, notwithstanding any absence of or changes in name. It's not the name, it's the Indian people that you're recognizing.
Final question. Final question I will direct to you, Chief Hicks.
Name them. Name them.
The issue of cost has also been raised here at this hearing today. And you noted that estimates from CBO are a little bit all over the board, may not be entirely accurate here. Can you clarify for the committee what factors you think might be contributing to these differing cost estimates? And I agree with my colleague from Oklahoma that while costs should not influence a level of recognition of tribal status, it is something that I'm dual-hatted. I'm not only chairman of the authorizing committee, I'm also chairman of the appropriating committee, and so I can't help but want to try to understand some of the financial implications of this.
How
so
you
can
get
you,
that much power?
if you're able, try to clarify a little bit
What
about
are the Native
why we
Americans
got
at
such
in
a
this
broad
conversation?
range
Why is all
of estimates that
YT?
are
What
out
are
there.
I think
natives
that
at
was
in
brought
this?
up by both
The natives don't even,
around that question.
we ain't seen a native there
We've
yet.
had a third party take a look at the prior CBO score. And one of the things that was flawed in that score was typically CBO does a 5-year financial score. In that particular scenario, they only included 4 years for some reason. In addition to, we're fairly certain that, all of the federal agencies, whether it's IHS, whether it's BIA, BIE, amongst others, were not adequately included in that number, because if you go back to the prior 2 CBO scores, one of those was close to double in years prior to this prior CBO score. And I think it was around 21, 22 without having my notes. But again, we think there were flaws in that particular score. The estimates that we think over a 5-year period is probably in the range of $2 to $2.3 billion over a 5-year period.
See, they're making a
all
fake tribe
agencies are
shit.
included.
If
Thank
they
you.
if these
Senator
if they
Schatz.
can't get by making these fake tribes, what
Thanks
make you tick
to everybody for testifying. I just want to make one final point. I know we've kind of gone around and around on this, but I think I speak for every member of the Senate on this particular
Have
question.
the genealogy, homie,
You
like
can
I
think
told y'all
we
back in the
should
game,
defer
only
to the
one way
administration,
to be an Indian,
but we don't have
and
to.
that is through bloodline.
Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution gives us this authority. Now, there is a statute that also delegates this authority to the administration, but it does not require that recognition go through an administrative process. You can think we are unwise for not kicking it to the administration, but you cannot say that we're not permitted to recognize a tribe. That is a constitutional obligation and authority of the Congress, but specifically the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. So if you want to make the argument that we need to build a historical record and that you trust this agency within an agency more than you trust us, that's fine, that's fair. But this is still our authority. And we clearly intend to exercise it.
We can't tell.
Madam Chair, can I respond?
You got to go to
As a
Congress.
member of the Senate. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I did not hear anybody saying that we don't have that authority. I think it was very clear that people recognize there's dual track here. And the question is, Lumbee has chosen one path, and they're asking us as members of Congress to support that path. And there's another side that's saying, no, there's an evidence-based path. That's what's before us. I did not hear from anybody, nor have I heard that somehow they're preventing us as members of Congress from doing our jobs. So I do, as a member, I don't want you speaking for me, I do recognize both sides of that.
Senator Cortez Masto, I don't think anybody said that directly today, but I will say that some of the organizations that have been steadfastly opposed to Lumbee recognition have actually made advertisements about circumventing the administrative process and undermining the tribal recognition process by going to Congress. And so that's what I was speaking to. I know it was sort of obliquely referred to, and you were suggesting that we were going to, that it would be better if we go through the administrative process. My own view is that this is a congressional authority, that the DOI has screwed this up for generation after generation, and that it's time for us to make a choice.
Well, I want to thank the members of the committee. I want to thank those who have come to testify today. I appreciate you helping us continue to build out this record. Members may submit additional questions for the record if they choose. The hearing record will be kept open for 2 more weeks. I also want to thank those who have attended. We're a pretty small committee on most days, and we don't have to go into a big committee room like this, but I think those who have joined today are evidence of the interest in this as an issue. And I think your presence is important to us as well. Know that this committee takes very seriously, as the vice chairman has said, our role and our responsibility when it comes to federal recognition of our tribes and ensuring that the sovereignty that they have is recognized by us in Congress, by the administration, and the responsibilities that we have. I want to thank everyone for the testimony that you have presented in a way that I think has been respectful, which is very important to this, the debate, the dialogue, the discussion, because I know that it can be contentious. And I know that oftentimes issues like these pit neighbor to neighbor, community against community, and that is hard. And particularly when you have been living with it for decades, if not over a century. So I respect the way that you have come to be before the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs today and your contributions. With that, the committee stands adjourned.